says that this Prime Minister overspent. It's Bill Morneau. Remember him? My old friend Bill Morneau. He's the one that said this Prime Minister spends too much. And the future Liberal leader, Carney, is the one who, along with the current Governor of the Bank of Canada, says that this overspending is contributing to inflation. 40% of the spending had nothing to do with COVID. In fact, much of it went to Liberal cronies and Liberal friends, with nearly doubling the amount of money that goes to high-priced consultants like McKinsey. If he has nothing to hide, one more chance, how much did he pay McKinsey?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, you know the Conservative leader is stumbling over himself when he starts quoting random Liberals. The reality is, Mr. Speaker, we will continue to move forward on investing in Canadians.
Right Honourable Prime Minister, from the top, please.
Out of the funk they seem to be in. So we're going to continue to stay focused on investing in Canadians. We're going to continue to stay focused on being there for people, while Conservatives continue to push austerity and cuts and criticize us for having supported people through the pandemic. We're going to demonstrate that we understand that building a strong economy involves investing and supporting people.
Today, the Prime Minister's friend Dominic Barton will appear before the Government Operations Committee. Over the last 8 years, Canadians have been struggling, but Dominic Barton's former company has cashed at least $100 million worth of government checks for consulting services. Now, I will be asking Dominic Barton about his involvement in the opioid crisis. While Barton was advising the Prime Minister, and while his company was collecting Canadian government contracts, they were advising Purdue Pharma on how to turbocharge opioid sales. During their time working together, did the Prime Minister ever ask Dominic Barton about his work turbocharging opioid sales?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I know Mr. Barton is looking forward to appearing at committee and answering any and all those questions. What I will highlight is that as a government, we will continue to stay grounded in science and facts and data as we address the terrible opioid epidemic across this country. Where Conservatives dig into random conspiracy theories and ignore science and evidence on how to keep people safe through the opioid epidemic, we are going to continue to step up with a harm reduction approach, with an approach that puts science first and that keeps Canadians safe through this terrible ordeal.
Honourable Member for Sherwood Park, Fort Saskatchewan.
Mr. Speaker, McKinsey's involvement in the opioid crisis is not a conspiracy theory. It's in the New York Times. The Prime Minister should read the stories about how, under Dominic Barton, McKinsey incredibly advised Purdue Pharma on a scheme to pay pharmacists for overdoses, paying pharmacists for overdoses. I asked a specific question for the Prime Minister about his conversations with Dominic Barton, and I think families deserve an answer. Did the Prime Minister ever ask Dominic Barton about his work with Purdue Pharma, yes or no?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, with so many conspiracy theories rattling around the Conservative caucus, one can understand where the member would misunderstand me. I was referring to the approach that the Conservative leader is taking against harm reduction, against science and evidence in supporting people facing with the tragedies of the opioid epidemic. We need to put a public health lens on this. We need to be grounded in science and data as we look to care for the most vulnerable, not have a criminal approach and not be grounded in things that sound good but actually will be harming the most vulnerable people. That's what I was calling out on the Conservative side.
L'honorable député de Belleuil-Chambre.